our call centers. These have all been enhanced to ensure that we can support customer need during this time. Outside of that, we've also enhanced our self-service tools. So customers can use channels like my MTN app, for example, and they can support themselves through some of the tools that we have on there. Tools like *17# 1515, the various tools that we've put in place to ensure customers can continue to support themselves as well. Now, outside of this, there's obviously specific government agencies that we're supporting. Like I said before, we've given free access to 10 government sites, institutions, as well as supporting the national security and their contact tracing work. Today, we've given about 800 SIMs, I beg your pardon, with a total of over 3 terabytes of data to support contact tracing and the work that the national security is doing. So 800 SIMs and 10 TurboNet devices, and the total data allocation is over 3 terabytes to support them.
At what cost does this intervention come?
These are very, very high costs. I don't want to put a cost on the terabytes today because we're essentially supporting a national service, and we see it as our responsibility. So we don't see it as something that we should be looking at from that perspective. However, there is a significant cost to supporting in this way, and we're happy to do so because it would help us get to the end of this pandemic. Right.
Right. These educational websites that you selected to zero rate for the promotion of education across the country.
Sure.
How were these selected?
So initially, we looked at sites that are popularly used. We have intelligence on sites that are being accessed through different tools, educational sites. But obviously, before students came home, there'll be a skew on what sort of services and sites these students will use. So when we first selected the initial 30 sites that we made free access to, we got feedback from customers online through some of our channels on different tools and support sites that they would like to have free access to. So we've added these in, and we've also spoken to most of the top universities in Ghana to get details of their sites. Some of them have also approached us directly and given us details of their website and the necessary technical details for us to be able to provide free access to these sites. So that's been the process. Today, we're actually seeing about 2.7 terabytes of daily traffic to these free sites that we've activated through zero rating.
Okay, so when you looked at these, from the sense that I'm getting, you're targeting your work on supporting governments with the work they're doing, and also education. People who are in school should be able to learn. One of the complaints that we've been getting is on sort of a cross-cutting policy. And we just heard the former president hint at that a cross-cutting policy to make it more affordable to access the internet for the average user out there, and not just targeted at these areas, albeit essential.
Sure, absolutely. And it's actually that very point that triggered our thinking. I mean, we've actually provided, if you think about those that have the biggest need, when the first announcement was made, all universities and all educational institutions were shut down. And therefore, the biggest need immediately was to ensure that these students are not home idle, but can continue to be productive. Now, we can't really just go around and easily figure out, which access is each student going to use to get onto the internet and give them free data, for example. But the alternative is to give them free access to the tools that they need. So all students today, the tools that you need to study, you're getting free access if you're on the MTN network. And I believe that answers the question that you just raised about free access or reduced cost of data. This will reduce the cost of data significantly for these students within the educational space.
Now, you mentioned
work with zero spend, essentially, is what we're saying.
Right. You mentioned in an earlier interview that reducing cost of data increases traffic, which could reduce quality of connection. Have you experienced any of these quality challenges since you introduced these policies?
Yes, we have, and I'm sure our customers will be the first to point that out to us as well. But let me just correct what I said before. What I said before was that reducing the price or giving free data would have a significantly negative effect on our business, on the productivity of people who want to work, on the quality of experience of data usage overall, right? But that doesn't mean that we haven't also done things to alleviate the pain that our students and that our populace are going through. So some of the initiatives we've taken, like ensuring that all educational sites, all informational sites through the government are free, are to alleviate and to support that very point. However, giving free data to people is not really the solution. And in as much as the gesture may be seen as a populist and a kind gesture, the end result of that would be super negative. I mean, we'll see people unable to access data channels. We have a situation today where a lot of companies are at home struggling to stay productive. The last thing they need is that their internet speed is at a level where they cannot be productive and exacerbate the economic implications for these, companies that can support the economy in the short to medium term. So we really have to get a very delicate balance here. But the guarantee is we empathize with our customers, we empathize with students. We've put in place the right mechanisms to ensure that they get free access to the tools that they need. And over the next few days, depending on what the situation looks like, you can count on us for additional support through some of our custom packages as well. So we continue to evaluate as we go along. We're all hoping that this pandemic doesn't extend too far. But to the extent that it does, we'll also appreciate that there will be a much longer term economic impact, especially on people who have sort of daily income, daily workings, who won't be able to afford certain things. And we have a responsibility to support that population as much as we can. So, we continue to live by those principles even in this difficult time.
Now, I have a quick follow for that one, being that is the suggestion then that if data costs should go down, people may use the system too much or abuse the system too much. But I want you to chew on that for just a minute for me. I'm going to go for the Joy Business Minute right now. It's brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. CBG, we stand with you. CBG is telling you that as a bank that values its customers, is empowering us to stay at home and safe during the season with their mobile USSD star 924 hash. From the comfort of our homes, we can all transfer funds by airtime, pay our bills, check our account balance, and even more with CBG Mobile USSD, star 924 hash, anytime and anywhere. All you need is your phone, so simply dial star 924 hash, get diggy with it. It's easy and very convenient. Stay home, stay calm, and stay safe. CBG, we stand with you. We're still in conversation with Selom Adadivo. The question that is hanging now is whether or not the suggestion is that a reduction in data cost leads to an abuse of data, so much so that it would compromise the speed for all of us. Mr. Adadivo will answer that question for us immediately after the Joy Business Minute.
Hello, good morning. My name is Daryl, and welcome to the Joy Business Minute, brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana and the Consumer Protection Agency have filed a suit at the High Court against the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) for the implementation of a new cylinder recovery margin in the price builder for liquefied petroleum gas (LPG). The Kumasi Central Market will open for trade on Thursday after traders agreed with city authorities on a shift system. This is to ensure traders at the market observe social distancing directive by government. The Business and Financial Times reports even though Africa was tipped to see an impressive growth this year, that projection would have to wait till another opportune time as the AU forecasts the continent's growth to contract due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, has said he would donate $1 billion towards efforts to tackle the coronavirus pandemic. According to Mr. Dorsey, the donation represented approximately 28% of his wealth. And that's your Joy Business Minute, brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you.
Mommy, I'm hungry.
Oh, Hima, today is Mommy's day off, so you can order anything you want.
Anything I want?
Anything. You can call me Dada Cash today.
Yay, pizza.
You crazy, making promises. Do you even have enough cash on you?
Honey, just watch and learn. Hello? I'd like to place an order for 2 large pizzas and 2 large drinks.
Sure,
sir, you can pay cash on delivery.
Oh, forget the cash. I'll be paying with CowPay. It's quicker and faster.
Pay for anything online and take control of all your payment transactions with CowPay on the CowBank app. Visit the Play Store or the App Store and download the CowBank app to make bank and mobile transfers, request a checkbook, stop a check, and also have access to the CowPay payment platform. CowBank app. Forget the cash.
What does extra mean to you?
Extra means Tower data.
More minutes to talk to my loved ones.
Data that doesn't expire.
More talk time at the best rate. You want extra? Airtel Tigo is giving you extra. Extra data on Big Time Extra that doesn't expire. Extra minutes on Fuse Extra that doesn't expire. And extra unlimited calls. It's time for extra. Even our bonus data doesn't expire. You did fill up? Simply dial *111# to activate now.
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Best on Bob Marley songs. There's a Three Little Bets. We had to bring it back because so many of you were asking for it. There's more coming up on the Super Morning Show, but of course, we're in the middle of our conversation with Selom Adadivo, who is CEO of MTN. He's with us on the phone lines, and what we'll do is that we'll take the answer to the next question, and then we will take your phone calls, your questions, your text messages, your tweets. Then we'll come back to him to address them. So, Mr. Adadivo, thanks for staying with us. The question was, how does a reduction in cost of data or giving free data mean you're not going to have as good quality a connection? How is that connection made?
Thanks for the question, and thanks to your listeners as well. So the question is, it's actually very straightforward to explain, but let me just start with a couple of principles. I mean, when you think about the correlation between price and demand, right? I mean, that's the first principle that will support that. As soon as you start to reduce price below a certain threshold, you get a certain surge in demand for traffic. However, even without price mechanisms or price reduction mechanisms, in a situation like this where all students have gone home and are working from home, companies have gone home and are working from home, there is a natural increase in demand for traffic. And therefore, we as an operator have to make some choices. And some of the choices are very difficult ones. In as much as we empathize with our customers and our fellow Ghanaians, some of these choices are very tough ones for us. But the choice we've made is to prioritize network resilience. And the reason for that is people have to stay productive, right? This increase in traffic, even without any other consideration, means that the capacity that our network is able to manage is being challenged. The second thing is that the traffic patterns have also shifted. In the past, you'd have a collection of 10,000 students in Cape Coast University who are accessing the internet. We've provisioned capacity in that university so that they can have a certain level of experience. Now, these 10,000 are in different parts of Accra and have increased the demand in certain areas that may have had much lower demand for data when the students were on campus. So the traffic patterns have shifted, which also means that the capacity planning that we had done does no longer apply strictly because of the redistribution of the population as a result of the pandemic.
But are those patterns, Mr. Adadivo, not our regular patterns? Because every vacation, these students do go home and the usage shifts geographically as they have now.
Absolutely. But the behavior is very different when they're on vacation. People are traveling, people are doing things, people are out in town. So their behavior is a lot more mobile and nomadic. And today, they're all staying at home in one place. It's very different, right? Now, as a result of that, we've made a decision that we have to ensure that our network is resilient during this time. So we've taken a number of actions to ensure that the increase in demand is managed well so people can stay productive. So, for example, a few weeks ago, we increased our international capacity by over 50% capacity, which means the amount of traffic going through the internet to access data and to access services has increased by over 50%, which would improve the experience for people. But a lot of this is to manage the capacity and the demand. If we didn't do that, then the speed of the data connections for our customers will degrade very quickly. And that risk is still there every day as the demand continues to go up and the usage continues to go up. And that's something that we're trying to manage as best as we can. Now, you should also imagine that international traffic is not something that's limited for Ghana, right? Because all other countries are experiencing the same pandemic. They've all gone home to work. They've all seen increases in data usage. And therefore, the demand for international traffic has gone up. The price has gone up, but also the availability has gone down. So we can't just go out there and buy more international bandwidth. There is a limit to how much we can buy. And that also means that we have some physical constraints in terms of capacity based on what's available today. But notwithstanding that, we've taken a number of steps as MTN to say, look, what if we're able to localize, instead of going out internationally for all the traffic that's consumed in Ghana, what if we localize some of that traffic? And to localize that traffic, there are specific services that you can bring in. If you look at your most used traffic types, so things like YouTube, videos on WhatsApp, on Google, Netflix. So all of these are services that are very high in terms of traffic usage in Ghana. So we've brought some of these servers down. We're expecting some over the next month or so. And what this will mean is it would localize the traffic and reduce the demand on international bandwidth for those specific services. And this would also help to contain some of the increase in data traffic that we're seeing. We've also invested in our network. We've implemented already 100 sites, in the process of implementing a few more to expand the capacity as well. We've brought in new services to be able to increase the number of concurrent connections that we can have on our network at any one time. So a lot of these things have already happened on the voice side and on the data side, and there are a number of things that are ongoing currently that should conclude, some by the end of April and others in the month of May.
So, Mr. Adadivo, I hear you making a great point about the investments that you are making to improve the resilience of your network. And I want to bring in listeners at this point because the key question of people having economic access to it is still very high. And because of the fact that consumption at this point will be governed by people's ability to pay. We are in a time where our economy is growing at its lowest in 37 years. And that's a global problem. People are not making as much money as they can. People are actually relying on the internet to replace the income that they would make if they were not browsing. So the question here is that if you have all of this bandwidth and all of this capacity and people cannot access it to do something more productive, how does that benefit us in the long term? But I want to bring in listeners on this point and have them make this point clearer before we go ahead and take your responses to that. So at this point, we'll ask Mr. Adadivo to hold on and ask you to call in on 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. Before my first caller comes in, Yaris you buy from them. For the purchase of every Toyota Yaris 1.3 liter or 1.5 liter from Toyota Ghana, you get either a mega discount on price, free fuel, or 1 year free service with the manufacturer's warranty of 3 years or 100,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. My first caller is in. Yao from Dansoman. Good morning, Yao.
Yeah, good morning, Daniel, and a big good morning to the CEO of MTN, Mr. Selom Adedivo. Daniel, Mr. Adedivo mentioned that they've made some 0 ratings for some government institution, that is government website institution, and also some learning platforms. I want to find out from him, where can we get access to some of these, or how can we know about some of these learning websites so that we can make good use of them? Because as I speak, as a student, I don't know the websites that is very.
All right. Thank you very much, Yao, for calling. You want to know which websites have been 0 rated. Peter is on the line from Teshi. Good morning, Peter.
Yeah, Peter, Daniel, how?
Yes, I am blessed. Peter, let's hear your question.
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Adadivo, because these days the children are at home. This time when you bundle, it's just going faster. And because of the coronavirus, that's why everything is expensive, or I don't know. So we are pleading with them. So if they were not around, we are not around. So we are partners. So they should just manage it for us so the children will have access to the data, whatever. Now the teachers are starting sending the questions to the house for them to do. So when the things are costing like that, it will give a burden to us. We are pleading with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Peter wants Mr. Adadivo to manage the cost. Ni is on the line from Dansoman. Good morning, Dakuman.
Hello, my name is Ni Ashi.
All right.
I'm calling from Dakuman.
All right. Ni, let's hear you.
Yes. For most of us, I would say, we rather depend on the voice for a lot of activity. And it's so sad that over here in Dakuman, where I live, and for this time I'm working from, even connecting to talk on the phone is so difficult. The network does not stay clear. I have to get out of my room and come into the compound. Sometimes I have to walk outside the house before the connection goes through or before I can have a smooth discussion on phone. That's one of our worries.
Which part of Dakuman?
This is Dakuman around the police station.
Okay. We'll take that concern to Mr. Adadivo when we get him back on the line. Ajwa is on the line from Dansoman. Good morning, Ajwa.
Hello, good morning, Daniel.
Yes, Ajwa, what's your concern?
So I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is normally when you bundle we have a package for I think 120 Ghana cedis, and then they would give you a bonus. The bonus only lasts for 7 days, and when you bundle 120 Ghana cedis, you're expecting it to be for the whole month. So if you're giving me a bonus that lasts for 7 days, by the time I'm through with the actual data, my bonus would have lapsed. That means I can't use it. The only time the bonus kicks in is when you're finished using the data you bought. So if they can make it in such a way that it would also be 1 month, the bonus will also last for a month, so that in the course of the month, if you're able to finish using your actual data, then you can use the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is their broadband, the one installed at home. So I was on another telecommunication work, and somebody came here convincing me that OMTN, they have the fastest, it's cheaper, blah, blah, blah. So I was convinced. I applied for their router. It was brought. Daniel, the thing runs like nobody's business. And I don't know why you buy the thing and it's so expensive. You buy the thing within a week, everything is gone. So comparing it to the other networks I was using, I think MTN, they are not affordable at all for the average Ghanaian. It's quite on the high.
Would you say your internet usage patterns are the same?
Okay, that's one thing that I've used one from another company. Okay, the same amount, or maybe their amount will be even cheaper. But I get around the same. Let's say if you buy some amount, you get about 30 gigabytes a month. And MTN will also give you 30 gigabytes a month. And I do virtually the same thing. I don't like downloading what's called movies. I normally use YouTube a lot and WhatsApp. And maybe I'll go reading and other things.
But it still runs too fast.
Yes, the other one would last maybe the end of the month. You still have some gigabytes remaining. MTN, it doesn't. Everything goes.
Okay. Ajwa will forward that question to Mr. Adadebo. Ifo Kwabna is on the line from Ho. Good morning, Ifo.
Yeah, Daniel. Good morning.
Good morning. Ifo, let's hear your question.
First and foremost, let me say I'm grateful for your show every morning. And kudos to the Mr. Daniel Adadebo, the MTN CEO. First and foremost, I'm happy with the MTN network that I normally use for browsing. Especially when one of the most interesting things I like about MTN is that whenever it's my birthday, they does me data bundle for me to browse or even credit even to call other networks. That's the one side of the MTN. But I'll plead, use your platform for you to invite the CEO of Vodafone and Tigo, Airtel Tigo, to come explain the reason why when we no longer enjoy the Vodafone network. I thought if you buy the Vodafone credit, or even the normal credit, before you realize the credit got finished. And Vodafone does not give out credit when it's difficult. Please, I'm begging you.
Ifo, thank you very much for calling. Bishop is on the line from Asante Mampo. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Dan.
Bishop, what's your question?
Today, Bob Marley, you really made our day. It is really sending messages to us. I beg, I want you to. It's a suggestion. One is a suggestion. The CEO for MTN. We are begging them. Previous caller mentioned the bonus, but I would like them to reverse the use of the bonus. The bonus should rather be used first, so that the main data will be used after the bonus is gone, because the bonus is normally for some number of days, 7 days. So that if we finish the bonus, our main data is there for the 30 days or something. Then we'll use that one. But you start using your main data before you know the bonus is gone off without you using it. So we beg them. They should reverse that system for us.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bishop, for calling. James is on the line from Airport. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, Dan.
James, what's your question?
Yes, it's a very important question, so please let him answer it. MTN advertises 4G, now 4.5G, but in the areas that I go in Accra, that the service is so much touted, I don't get 4G all the time. Sometimes it goes to 3G, sometimes Edge. I want him to explain to us, why is that so? Why would you advertise something or getting something else? For me, another question is, the infrastructural investment, they are not doing much because MTN makes so much profit. If you compare MTN Nigeria, MTN South Africa, and MTN Ghana, you realize that they spend so much money investing in those countries than Ghana. Why should it be so? And as you rightly stated, people always move. Right now, people actually traveled out of Accra, so they don't have any excuse. When we are at work, we use data, and even at work, we use it more. Because I remember when I go to any office, the broadband facility there ensures that we use a lot, we download movies, even you can attest in your own office. So please, let him come clear on that. And please let him answer the 4.5G that they are advertising, but we are not getting it.
Thank you, James, for calling us from Airport. Joe is on the line from Mamprobi. Good morning, Joe.
Hello, Daniel. Good morning.
Blessed. Let's hear you.
Okay. MTN, they say everywhere you go. But now MTN, they just have some few places that they are reaching out. Quick one. The president has been able to do a lot for us. I mean, now we are enjoying free water. MTN can also do something for us. At least if you can get like 1 month free data. I'm not crying for myself, but for the little ones who are home, who have parents who run out of cash and all that. At least I know some of them would need free data, not just to browse for free, but then to use it wisely for their kids.
Thanks for calling, Joe. Joshua is on the line from Newtown. Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, Daniel. Hope all is well.
By grace, Josh.
Good. My question is, when you buy data and then you are given the bonus, the rate at which the bonus runs is not the same time value as the data is supposed to run. Before you realize, you started browsing and they tell you, oh, your data has run down. You have consumed 50% of your bonus. Before the next minute, everything is gone. Before you come for your data, actual data. So my question is, why does the bonus run faster than the normal data? Because if you say you've given me bonus, it's supposed to run at the normal time my actual data runs. So at the end, you haven't even given me any data, any bonus then.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for calling us from Newtown. That was the challenge with bonus and how bonus runs faster than regular data. Still live on the Super Morning Show, 23 minutes past 8. Selom Adadivo will come back to answer your questions right after these few messages. Keep sending them in 02440340 0244340437. After we finish with Mr. Adadivo, Cecilia Abnadapa will be joining us in studio. She is Minister for Water, Resources and Sanitation. We'll be breaking down the President's commitments to ensure that water is supplied to our homes at no cost for the next 3 months as part of the COVID-19 relief package. It's the Super Morning Show. It's about you, your data, and your water. Stay with us. We'll be right back to continue.
Your banking your way, whenever you choose. In our digital zone with cutting-edge digital banking products and quality services, you deserve a better bank and great rewards. We agree, the world only moves because you make it move. SG Ghana, the future is you.
Abna, why are you crying?
Why wouldn't I cry out? This has become unbearable. Everywhere I go, I'm treated like an outcast. At home, at work, at the hospital, even at the market. Is it a crime to have TB? Is it a crime to have HIV? It's better I die. Why?
No, Abna, you can't give up and die. Indeed, a new dawn has come for persons living with HIV and those suffering from TB and sexually transmitted infections. WAPCAS, in collaboration with the Ghana AIDS Commission, is shedding light on our rights so we can enjoy equal rights as captured in the Ghana AIDS Commission Act, Act 938. Rights to quality health care, non-discrimination, equal work opportunities, and education. You may call WAPCAS on 030-224-1452 or 055-6233-663 to report any act of discrimination. WAPCAS.
Here for your rights.
WAPCAS and Act 938.
Here for life.
This advert is brought to you by WAPCAS with funding from the Global Fund.
Be happy.
Every child needs to learn and play. That's why I give my kids Go TV, the best choice for kiddie edutainment. With lots of fun and educative channels for all ages like Da Vinci, PBS Kids, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Jam Jam, and Disney Junior. Learning the fun way never stops. So, mommies and daddies, keep the children playing and learning whilst at home. For sales and customer service, SMS Go TV to 1731. Go TV. Live it. Love it.
And Bedrock is proud to be associated with Joy FM Joy News Arrive Alive Road Safety Tips on the Super Morning Show. Bedrock wants you to arrive alive and do business with them because they believe that the purpose of business is to create value for customers. Claims provide insurance companies with the opportunity to deliver value to their customers when they've suffered a loss, they are stressed out, or they are possibly traumatized. Experience the Bedrock 3 before 3, where claims up to 3,000 Ghana cedis reported before 3 p.m. are paid on the same day. Bedrock Insurance, protecting the things you truly value. And I know you value your data and the quality and the cost of it, so Mr. Adadivo has rejoined us on the line to answer all your questions. Mr. Adadivo, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, Daniel.
Great. So there were varying questions, and I want us to begin from Joe from Mamprobi, who said that free data should be seen as a sort of an intervention, as a sort of a philanthropic move, as opposed to, a commercial decision.
Sure. I mean, Joe's point is well put, and like I said before, I really do empathize with the masses on the desire to have free data. However, we really have to make sure that we don't take actions that would render our services unusable. And I just want to remind everyone about an incident that happened in February, which is not a very popular one for us. But in February, we gave out 2 gigabytes of data to close to 20 million Ghanaians. And, very shortly after, the sentiments were, well, if the network is so slow, why did you bother giving us 2 gigabytes of data? And there was a lot of negative impact and backlash from this gesture, which was meant to be a gesture of good, right? The spirit that MTN used to give the 2 gigabytes was a positive one. It was a good spirit, but the backlash was massive. And, it looked like we've forgotten very quickly the implications of some of these actions. So again, the response to ensuring that people continue to enjoy free is to make sure that if you're accessing any educational site, if we haven't given you free access yet, please just send us an email with the site through our email channels, and then we will activate those over time. So we've gone from 25 free rated sites to 100 sites today, and we'll continue to add as we get feedback. So yes, we will support you to ensure you can browse for free on educational sites, and that commitment will continue to honor in the coming weeks.
But does it not then mean, and that goes to a question that I got about from James from Airport, doesn't it point rather to the investment in infrastructure that we need to, meet the growing demand? Because in Ghana, when you look at the numbers, a lot of people are connected to the internet, but we actually have very few people who are going on the internet to use it in the daily business. And the world is going digital. So should we rather not be looking at expanding our systems so that more people can browse and that contributes to the economy?
No, you're spot on that. I mean, there is the issue of investment, and one of our customers talked about the fact that we should be investing more. I believe it was James. Now, MTN in the last 3 years has spent significant amount of money. We're talking close to $500 million in infrastructure investment, right? So every year we're spending $150 to $160 million expanding our network, investing in infrastructure. So these investments have been done. We invested in 4G. We invested in 4G Plus last year. We've invested in TurboNet. So on the side of investment and side of capacity, no question at all. We all agree that we have to ensure that we have the right capacity. Again, which is why in the last few weeks, we've again invested in expanding our international traffic by about 50%. But the fact still remains that we're in a very unusual situation right now where there is a crisis on hand. And you can't just invest at the beginning of a crisis to accommodate the spike in demand that the crisis has triggered. Remember, China is one of the places where a lot of manufacturing happens. So even if we wanted to, even if we put the cash down to buy equipment, you would have supply chain challenges in bringing the equipment in. Some of the projects that we're working on and investing in now, I talked about, we've already implemented 100 sites, and we're in the process of expanding other areas as well. We also have equipment that's on the sea that's coming to us. These are equipment that have delayed because of supply chain challenges, also as a result of the same virus that we're dealing with. So there are a number of other implications in terms of timing, in terms of your ability to deliver, even when you put purchase orders in. That will continue to limit our ability to expand our capacity at the same rate as the demand is expanding at the moment. But we're in a crisis. It's very unusual. So we shouldn't forget that part of the equation as well, that we're in unusual times.
Now, we had some, horizontal comparison where Ajua from Dansuman says she bought a broadband device on recommendation, and compared to the network she was using before that, the data runs out at a much quicker rate. I asked her if her mode of her use has changed. She says that no, she does basically the same thing, and still the data doesn't last her a week.
Okay. So there are a number of things, and this is, very sort of, I'll try to explain a few things about data and data speed. So first of all, when you access a data resource, you access a data resource at a certain speed. If you're on a 3G network, the speed at which you would receive feedback from that resource, say you access a website and you're watching a video, the speed with which you receive feedback from that video on the 3G is much slower. It's about 10 times slower than it is on 4G. Okay? Now, MTN has implemented over 1,600 4G sites, 4G plus sites, which means that your speed today is close to 100 times the speed that you will get on the average data network. So it's not unusual that if you're on a high-speed network, that your data would run faster. And if that's not desired, then there are a number of things you can do. For example, if you're watching YouTube or Netflix, you can switch from high definition to standard definition. And there are settings within Netflix and YouTube to do that. And we can support Adjoa if needed to be able to do this. We can take a number and walk it through how to do this. We've put some materials out as well on how people can do this. But that will reduce your rate of consumption because you've lowered the quality of your video experience, which means that the data would run a lot slower as well. So these are some of the things that perhaps we can work with Adjoa and other customers to go through, and we'll put out more material on these to support our customers in this regard.
So again, does it just come down to the customer's consumption habits? Because I get the sense here that the data is getting finished because we are using it.
Sure, it's not only the customer's consumption habits. I think in the case of Adjoa, she was quite emphatic that her habits haven't changed. My assumption here is that she's moved from a 3G network to a 4G, 4G plus network, and therefore things are running much faster. That's my assumption here to be validated.
And if I'm using the same websites, but I'm using 4G and 4G connection now, yes, I'm getting it at a faster rate, but does that mean that it should finish, as early as it does?
Yes, because when you're getting at a faster rate, it's accelerating your consumption. Now, if you go to a normal text website, which is we'll call it a static website, once you download the page, you've downloaded the page. So you download the page much faster, but it would take you X amount of MBs to download the page. So your consumption wouldn't be different from 3G than it would be on 4G because there's a certain amount of MBs to download the page. However, you'd receive it faster. But if you're watching things like video or you're on a dynamic website where the content is changing, then the time factor comes in, where if you're online and open for, say, 30 minutes, you'd have consumed a lot more than if you spend the same 30 minutes on a slower network. So that's the difference here.
Now, a question that came twice was on the bonus. You can only use bonus after your purchase data runs out, and the bonus kicks in for only about 7 days anyway. So it's not as effective.
No, I mean, I was very saddened. I think it was Joshua from Newtown who said that his bonus is used after his main balance. That's not actually accurate. And Joshua, I apologize if you didn't understand this. We would never do that as MTN. We've worked very hard over the last 2 years, treating customers fairly, ensuring we've put a lot of things in place. Your bonus is the first to go, and after your bonus, you go to your main account. And remember, today, all our bundles are non-expiry. Bonuses are not, but all our bundles are non-expiry. So we wouldn't allow your non-expiry bundle to go first when we have the 7-day limit on your bonus. So, Joshua, your information is not accurate. We apologize for that, but your bonus does go first. And after that, you can enjoy our non-expiry packages, and you have no issues there at all.
Well, with Adjo's question about the broadband package, she mentioned that it was for a month. It was for a month tenure, and the bonus was for 7 days, and she had the same concern.
That's correct. So the bonus is meant to give you a short-term boost in terms of the amount of data you have. So we put a 7-day expiry on that. And if you look at the consumption pattern, to be honest, 7 days, a lot of people will consume that bonus within the 7 days. The percentages of consumption are really high. Again, we might have to work with Adjoa specifically because Adjoa also said that her data runs very fast. So if it does, we just have to understand what the 7-day limit is, because if it runs very fast, we would expect that you'd use your data in 7 days. However, the non-expiry would apply to your main package. I believe she bought the 120 Ghana City package, and we'll be able to help her through. I actually think, Daniel, that we should have a chat with Adjoa offline. We'll take her number and have a chat with her offline and walk her through a few things.
Okay, so Adjoa, due to the uniqueness of your challenge, please send your number into our WhatsApp number. Let us know that this is Adjoa from Dansum and I called about ABC so that we can put you in touch with the MTN team. Let me say good morning before I get Mr. Adadivo's final words. Let me say good morning to our next guest who has already joined us. She's all decked in her face mask. The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Benadafa. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, sir.
Hope all is well.
By grace, I am well, and you?
We are doing well. Good. We are doing well. So Cecilia Benadafa is here in studio to answer all your questions concerning water availability, the government's absorption of the bills, the supply of water by the tankers, government sanitation drive, and a number of other issues in that sector. So let me just get the final word on our conversation, because I believe we've dealt with most of the questions that have come in. A few of them were repeated. And I'll get a final word from Mr. Adadivo. So if I can get some clarity on this one, does that mean that MTN customers cannot expect any form of relief? Because I am seeing here on ITU News, this is an international website, I'm sure you're familiar with it, that the number one thing that mobile telephone operators should consider is contractual relief to their customers, possibly beefed up with some international call packages. from most affected countries. And I know that in other jurisdictions, there are networks named here which have been able to do that. We are not able to see any of these things from MTN. Hello, Mr. Adadevoh.
Yeah, hi, Daniel.
Sorry, it seems you didn't catch my question there. I was reading from you for you a quote from an article captioned 8 ways the telecoms industry can help everyone keep connected. It's an opinion piece, and it's the number one way is operators everywhere should consider contractual relief to their customers, possibly beefed up with some international call packages to and from the most affected countries. Given the challenges that you have named for us, is anything like this on the horizon for MTN, or customers should make do with what is available now?
Sure. I mean, I think, first of all, let's not underestimate what we've already put out there. Like I mentioned, we're consuming 2.7 to 3 terabytes of free data on educational sites already, and we expect this to double, triple over the next couple of weeks. So I really want to make sure that people understand how much value there is in that, and not underestimate the fact that this is actually contributing significantly to the cost of data today, or reducing the cost of data overall today for students in the county. Now, this is not to say that we won't consider other things. As you know, there are a number of other packages that we have, which we've already put out. And as this continues, none of us knows where this is going. There's a lot of uncertainty ahead of us. And I can reassure you that MTN will continue to look out for its customers. We understand the economic implications for a lot of people, who today cannot go to work because of the lockdown, cannot have an income. And we're constantly seeking ways to support, in ways that we can. So, yes, the assurance is that we'll continue to look at ways that we can. And over the next few days, you'll probably hear from us again on different things that we're doing. But we have to look at this also holistically. We have to consider that MTN is not only focused on one segment. We're looking at government workers, we're looking at students, we're looking at frontline health workers, how we can support them. This is why we've given the medical supplies, in terms of PPEs at a value of 5 million Ghana cedis. There are a number of different things. We talk about mobile money as well. It's going to be over 40 to 50 million Ghana cedis in free P2Ps in the 3 months. So there are a number of things that we're doing holistically that we shouldn't lose sight of in all of this. And the narrow focus on one thing may not be the right approach, because there are significant constraints there. And we all know that if our banks can't work because we've made an action which renders our network unusable, as an economy, we lose a lot more than we would by giving out some data package to everyone. So again, we have to really be conscious of the economic implications and the challenges that we're under today. We shouldn't take actions that makes that worse. We have to keep companies productive. We have to keep them online.
Now, Mr. Adadevoh, beyond what MTN as an institution will do, I just want about 30 seconds response on this one. That we do know that there are some capacity bottlenecks. There's spectrum that is not available to be used, and there are some actions that regulators can take. What will be your word to regulators at the NCA, the ministry, government here, on ensuring that data is more accessible and more affordable to users?
Sure. To be honest, I mean, my word to the NCA wouldn't be surprising to the NCA. NCA has been, very proactive in all of this. About a week and a half ago, the NCA scheduled daily calls with all operators, and we go through discussions around challenges that we're facing, how they can support. I can assure you that we're in some very advanced discussions on ways that the NCA can support us. And once these decisions are finalized, we will absolutely put it out there. But no, they've been very supportive, and there are tools that the NCA has that they can use to support us, and we're currently in discussions with them.
Selom Adadevoh, thank you very much for joining us this morning. He's CEO of MTN. This conversation is not over. You heard him say that there are some more interventions that they're planning as a company, and when those are finalized, we'll definitely bring him back so that we can have a better understanding of the issues facing them and how they are serving us. Answered, if your concerns were addressed,